What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Harrison, and today we are doing a ranking of all of the mainline 2D and 3D Zelda games in honor of Zelda Week. We're finally at the last week before Tears of the Kingdom launches. So let's dive into it. Let's remind everyone that my list is subjective. This is my own opinion. You know, these opinions change all the time. So be nice to me. Let's everyone's got their own list and stuff like that. I would love to hear what your guys' list is as well. You know, your favorite Zelda games, your least favorite Zelda games. So without further ado, let's dive into it. So we are using the a Zelda tier maker list. I love the tier maker website. They always have a ton of great lists. So let's dive into it. So if you notice at the very bottom, there is a never played section. This may immediately take away my Zelda fan card, but I'm gonna throw in the original Zelda. I know. I have not beaten this game, and I also haven't played enough for it to really count as me playing it. I will play this game one day. I know it's a very short game, so again, I apologize. I know that's bad. Also, Zelda 2 and the Adventure of Link. I haven't played that one yet either. I didn't grow up with an NES or Super NES, so I never played them back in the day, which I know is no excuse. You know, I've got my Super NES and my mini NES, the mini SNES and the mini NES, and then it's obviously on NSO, so no excuse for me not to play it, but I will eventually one day. So let's get into the main part. This is really in no particular order. This is just as I'm pulling them from the tier list here. So we've got Zelda Oracle of Ages and Seasons. I am going to put those at A tier. I think they're one of the best 2D Zelda games. And fun fact, they're made by not Nintendo. They're made by Capcom, which also made the Minish Cap, which we'll talk about that here shortly. But yeah, we need another Capcom Zelda game. They made some of the best 2D games, and we may not get another Zelda game for 5 or 6 years. So let's sprinkle in a 2D game in between that time to keep us full of Zelda. So yeah, those games were excellent. I don't remember which one I liked more, so I'm just gonna keep it as is as I put it on the list. But those are the same game, which is also cool because they kind of did the Pokemon thing where they had two versions, but they were very, very different. Like the stories and the world were completely different. So wasn't quite like Pokemon, where the Pokemon's a cash grab and shots fired at Pokemon, but it's a cash grab. They want you to buy two versions. Everything else about the game is the same, other than what type of Pokemon you can get. So really cool idea they did with Zelda. And then obviously they, if you plugged in the code at the end of one, I can't remember if you unlock something in the other version. And then there was also, I think, a canceled version of the third game. So yeah, just really cool Zelda games right there. Skyward Sword. Now this is specifically for me, this is the Switch version. I did play Skyward Sword on the Wii back in the day. I did not like the Wii. I just couldn't really get behind the motion controls. Twilight Princess was a little bit of a different story on the Wii because it wasn't quite full motion yet, but Skyward Sword was. I couldn't beat it back in the day. I just could not get past the motion controls. I gave it another shot with the Switch version, and I loved it. I thought it was a great Zelda game. I thought the controls were as good as they could be for using the sword on the right thumbstick. I thought the controls were pretty solid, and yeah, I think it's a great Zelda game. Let's go. Let's say Breath of the Wild is next. We obviously know that's S tier, right? It's one of my favorite Zelda games of all time. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's not much to say about it that's already been said. It's incredible. It set the standard for open world games, where it's not boggled down with constant stuff on like the mini map. And, you can place the markers on there if you want to, but it's not like a Ubisoft game where I think this is a side note. I think Ubisoft ruined open world games for me for most part. but just being constantly just so much on the screen. They're trying to get you to go in every little direction. And Zelda, you wanted to go in every direction, but you wanted to explore, so I think it's, the culmination of what Miyamoto stated with the original Zelda is where you didn't really, it didn't really force you to go anywhere, but it made you explore. And that was like the main purpose of the game. It's going into woods and just exploring. And I think this is the perfect example of his original vision with Zelda. So Breath of the Wild, incredible game. Ocarina of Time. I think today, I like it a little bit better than Breath of the Wild. Zelda Ocarina of Time has such a special place in my heart. It's my first Zelda game when I got my N64 back in the day, and I played this game with my mom. Now, my mom is still alive, so this is not some sob story or anything like that, but I would play it, and she would have the strategy guide, and she would tell me where to go and how to, where to collect, all the heart containers and the Skulltulas and stuff like that. Like, it was such a great memory that I have with my mom playing that, and it was probably a combination of that and nostalgia for Ocarina of Time. I still think it has some of the best music in the series. The gameplay is fun. Like, it's a great game. I actually just recently booted it up for the first time in a long time, a couple of days ago, and I still love it. Like, it still plays great. It's such a fantastic Zelda game. All the dungeons and bosses are amazing. So for right now, I think it's a little bit higher for Breath of the Wild, for me at least. Let's see. Next up, we've got The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Again, it's an S tier game for me. I absolutely love this game back on the day on the GameCube. Now, the Wii U version is even better. They kind of streamlined some of the the Triforce Shard quest and stuff like that, and bringing it over to HD just solidified it as one of the greatest looking games of all time, and it's going to hold up so well, for many years to come, especially, it being in HD now. Where is this game on the Switch? Why hasn't Nintendo not ported this and Twilight Princess over yet is beyond me. Maybe we'll get it next year. I don't know when we'll get these games. I know it's coming eventually. Maybe it'll be like a Switch 2 launch title, just so we have a Zelda game at launch. I have no idea, but I love the open world. Like, I love just, being on the water, and again, it's so beautiful. The music's great. Wind Waker is one of the best Zelda games. I remember back in the day when they showed off this game and the new art style and it being very cartoony. People lost their minds over it. And I think it's one of the best looking Zelda games. So yeah, it just plays amazingly. Love it. Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX. So I'm probably did I like it more? I probably liked it a little bit more than Oracle of Ages and Seasons. I loved Link's Awakening back in the day, on Game Boy Color. I thought it was an amazing game, a great 2D Zelda game, one of the best ever. I really did. It's not on this list for some reason, but I'm gonna throw it up. The Switch version over on the B list here. I do think it's a great Zelda game. I think the original art style I like it better than kind of the more of the cartoony diorama look that the Switch version of Link's Awakening looks like. And it also had a little bit of stuttering issues, especially when there was a ton of grass on the screen, which was really weird. So yeah, I think the original is better, and the remake is more of a B tiered style game. Next up, we've got Legend of Zelda. I'm gonna throw this is specifically the Game Boy Advance version of Four Swords is what I'm gonna count it as. I think this game is great. A Link to the Past is obviously great. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but the Four Swords itself I think is okay. I didn't play a ton of it on the Game Boy Advance back in the day. I did play a little bit of it. I think probably the GameCube version is a better version, and I'll go ahead and put that one up here as a C list too in front of that. But yeah, I think Four Swords is one of the first. I think it's the first attempt at a multiplayer style Zelda game. It's not great. I would like to go back and play specifically the GameCube version just to see how it goes. or see how it plays. But I remember it just being okay back in the day, so I'm fine with putting it as a C. Next up is Phantom Hourglass. I'm probably gonna put it a little bit ahead of Four Swords. I didn't love this game back. There's Spirit Tracks. Oh my goodness, this is let me put this in a D. This is one of the few Zelda games that I have not completed. I did not like the Spirit Track elements of it. You know, having the train. I do want to pick this game up again and play it and beat it and see where it changes on this list, but it's probably one of the worst Zelda games, and you'll see that I don't have an F tier spot, because I think even the worst Zelda games are still a good video game. But yeah, Spirit Tracks is not my favorite. Phantom Hourglass I'll put it a little bit ahead of Four Swords. I think it is a decent but not great Zelda game. Because you don't control Link, and I think this is the same for Spirit Tracks. You don't control Link with the D-pad. You control it with the stylus, and it doesn't feel super great. But it did have some cool elements where you could like stamp stuff on the DS, like you would close it and it would make a stamp. You blew into the microphone to create wind, so it had some interesting concepts to the game. But yeah, the Zelda DS games were not super good, which is definitely a shame. Triforce Heroes, I guess I'm going to put it a little bit above or ahead of Spirit Tracks, I guess. And this is another Zelda game, you know, another multiplayer Zelda game that isn't great. And it had like some, once you beat like a level or something, you would get, you know, costumes and stuff for Link, which is interesting, but I just didn't think the game was that great. I don't know if I actually ever actually played it in multiplayer with another person. I still have the game, so maybe if I could play with my brother or something, and get that multiplayer vibe from it. But playing a single player was just not fun at all. Zelda: A Minish Cap, I'm gonna put that probably, probably an A tier. Put it ahead of everything else. And I just played Minish Cap recently, so maybe that's why I'm putting it so high. But I played this on the NSO when it just came out, so I think the game is gorgeous. It looks so good. Again, it's a Capcom game, but I love like the world. Like, you know, there's, you know, you go through an area and you don't notice anything, and then when you get the diminished ability to get small, you could explore kind of the world from another perspective, and I think that's really, really cool. All the weapons you get are fantastic. All the dungeons are great. It's just such a great game, and again, it looks so beautiful. One of the best looking 2D games, 2D Zelda games out there. A Link Between Worlds, I'm probably gonna put that. I think I'm gonna put it here. A Link Between Worlds is an incredible Zelda game. I think it's one of the best 2D games. I loved the wall art ability. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but being able to, again, kind of like the Minish Cap, you know, when you can get into the wall and go flat, it really changes the perspective of the game. It makes it, you know, you kind of look at the game at literally another angle, but also like there's so many other opportunities you have to clear a level and stuff like that. So really cool game. The obviously the light and dark world are awesome. The only Zelda game I believe that you don't actually acquire a weapon, other than like maybe Breath of the Wild. You don't acquire a weapon in the dungeon. You have to rent you have to rent the weapons from the shop person, and then use it to get to the next dungeon. So really interesting concept in the game. It was really, really cool. Next up is Majora's Mask. I think that's probably going to be up in the A tier category. I don't think it's quite as good as the S tier games, but I love this game. You know, as a sequel to Ocarina of Time, on the timeline split, I think it's an incredible Zelda game. It's one of the darker games. I really enjoyed the 3D time. Like, time is not one of the greatest things in video games where you're being timed, but when you get like the Song of like Reverse Time, like you really have all day to kind of do what you need to do. So yeah, I love that aspect of it. I love the fact that you had to pay attention to the characters' kind of schedules in the game, so you could complete all of the quests, get all the masks. I think all of the transforming masks were fantastic in this game. I loved all of them. And then the Great Deity mask is one of the coolest masks in the game. It's a shame that you can only use it on the moon. But yeah, it's such a I think Majora's Mask is amazing. And again, it's more of the moodier kind of Zelda, darker tone Zelda games out there. A Link to the Past, I think I'm gonna put it right behind Majora's Mask. But ahead of A Link Between Worlds. Link to the Past, one of my favorite 2D Zelda games of all time. It's absolutely incredible. One of my kind of, I think it was like my first entry point to 2D Zelda games. I love this game. You know, it's everything you had to say about A Link to the Worlds. You know, it's kind of, you have to say for A Link to the Past. You know, it's a fun open world game. You know, it's great. Yeah, I mean, if you played it, you know, I didn't play the NES or the Super NES version. I did play it on the Game Boy Color. But yeah, it was amazing. I absolutely love this game so much. And the next up is and the last one on the list. Tears of the Kingdom is on this list. Obviously, I'll throw that up in the never played category. Let's put it ahead of that. There we go. And then we've got Twilight Princess, the last one. I love Twilight Princess. Again, this was like the GameCube, came out on the GameCube and launched on the Wii U, or excuse me, launched on the Wii. Simultaneously, I did play this game on the Wii, which, fun fact, this game, because Link is normally left-handed, because of the motion controls, they put it on the right, and the game is actually in reverse, you know, between the GameCube version and the Wii version are, the camera is actually swapped, so you're getting a different version of the game, which is interesting. But yeah, Twilight Princess is great. I loved all the Midna stuff. I did actually like the wolf stuff a lot. I thought it was just a cool, like, kind of unique thing in the Zelda universe. I did enjoy the kind of the darker tone of the game. It did have a little bit of a barren open world, it felt like, from what I remember. But the combat in the game is some of the most fun combat in the series. I believe. I think Breath of the Wild's combat is probably a little bit better, but the mechanics of Twilight Princess were awesome. You know, going and fighting that skeleton and learning new moves and stuff was really cool. And again, I don't know why this game is not on the Switch for us to play, but I'm sure we'll get it someday. But yeah, that is my list, guys. I hope everyone enjoyed my list. I know the first two Zelda games, specifically the original Legend of Zelda. I know that's gonna hurt a lot of people, but I'll play it eventually, I promise. So let me know in the comments below what you guys, what's your favorite Zelda game of all time, what your least favorite Zelda game is, and if you haven't played the Zelda game, because there's a ton of them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank y'all so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Consider subscribing to the channel. I'll let YouTube algorithm pick one of my videos below for you guys to watch. Give it a click, and I hope you enjoy, and I will see you in the next video.